Oh,
What
man.
up?
How's it going, everybody? Appreciate you for being here. Sorry I'm late. A little bit behind schedule, a bit of busy day. I just barely ate my dinner. So, yeah, how's it going? What's up, Bash? We got a game on Friday. Or sorry, Sunday. It's Friday tonight.
Sunday,
Prediction.
Sunday,
I'm
Sunday.
all messed up. I'm all mixed up. Let's get together here. Got a game on Sunday. It's Friday night. Prediction Friday. How you feeling now, man?
Feeling great. Pumped up, even though the game, in my opinion, doesn't really mean much since we already clinched and all that. But it's always good to be out here on a Friday night hanging out with the people in the chats and on both channels, either on our SF 49ers live channel or the 49er Minded YouTube channel. Always good to see everybody, and let's do this.
Yeah, no. Even though this game doesn't necessarily mean much in terms of record and seeding and all that stuff, it's still, 49er football. We love it. And you know what? At the end of the day, we get to see a lot of young players and a lot of veteran guys kind of step in and get to play and do their thing. So it is what it is. The good news is the 49ers are the number one seed. So they get this rest. Like, that's the luxury of being the number one seed. It's like, wow, all year you've been fighting and clawing, and now you get to be the number one seed. So now you get to rest. And that's kind of, new for the 49ers. Over the last couple of years, they've been not the number one seed. They've had to go on the road. They've had to fight and claw, and then they get tired in the playoffs. Now it's like different. Now the whole week people are like, should they play players? Should they rest players? Should they, this, that, and the other? Now it's a whole different story, So I'm going to ask you a couple of these questions because that's basically one of the big topics of the day is, Trent Williams is supposed to be playing. A couple of starters are going to be playing. Brock Purdy's not. So we got to talk about those guys that are playing versus those that are not. Is it advantageous? Do you think that players should rest? So talk about all that kind of stuff. But before we do, I want to wish everybody a happy new year. Haven't seen you since last year, Bash. How's your new year?
I know. It's been a year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was cool. I actually did the stay at home thing, but just chilled and, enjoyed my Niners when I did play. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun, man.
Good deal. Good deal. We were at the Rose Bowl. That was crazy.
Rose
Dude,
Bowl.
so we after the game, Washington game, right, finishes, I drive up to my friends. They live in Santa Cruz, and we drove all the way up to like Pasadena area. We spent, New Year's Eve, whatever was left of it, because by the time we got there, it was like 11. Checked into our Airbnb, celebrated, went to bed, woke up the next day, went to the Rose Bowl, watched Michigan beat Alabama, then drove back. It was a crazy 24 hours.
That must have been a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, it was dope. I was tired, though. I didn't get home, like my home, until like 2 a.m. It was crazy. And then I had to work the next morning. So it definitely was fun. Definitely was fun. But speaking of fun, this 49er season has been absolutely fun. I don't know. This might be the most fun game of the season. We got Carson Wentz versus Sam Darnold. The 49ers are resting Brock Purdy this week because how many times have we sat here and said, oh, my God, another quarterback injury? Kyle Shanahan does not want to have any chances of any quarterback injury, so he's resting Brock this weekend. And, Sam Darnold gets a shot against Carson Wentz. My man Raphael562 says the backup bowl. I've heard some people call it the Ginger Bowl. What do you think? Sam Darnold, Carson Wentz, absolute cinema. What are your thoughts on resting Brock Purdy this weekend? Do you think he should play? Now we talk about, Steve Young this week. He doesn't like the 3 weeks, 21 days in between starts for Brock Purdy. Where's your mind? Do you think it matters? Do you think Brock's okay by resting? He said it himself yesterday. He's like, it's not like I'm going to be sitting there on the couch. I'm going to practice. I'm going to go through the installs. I practice against one of the best defenses of the NFL, our defense. And, he says he's taken time off before. What do you make of Brock Purdy resting this weekend?
Look, I don't want to see Brock get injured, so we have to play the ginger. That was off the top of the dome, by the way. So.
That was good.
Yeah, no, I love Steve Young. Usually I agree with about 95% of the things that he says. He's badass. I was lucky enough to meet the guy. Loved watching him play throughout the years, but I don't know. I just don't think. What was it towards the end of the Ravens game when Purdy was playing? He almost got hurt, and I don't know. I just don't. What does this game mean? It means nothing to me.
Yeah,
it should be nothing to the team. If you don't have to play, don't play him.
I agree. I agree because, And I know Steve says the rust and, the mental edge and this and that. Like, I get all that, but at this point, there's just a bigger risk that goes into a game like this, because we have seen so many quarterbacks through the years get injured, and I don't want that to happen. You saw last week Miami was playing Baltimore. Baltimore was blowing this Miami team out of the water. But fourth quarter, it's like 3 minutes left. Bradley Chubb's still in the game. He blows his knee out, man. Like, it's I don't like it. I know Steve Young, what he said is, you don't want to, go in there without 21 days without any, game snaps. You can get rest mentally and all that good stuff. And I respect Steve Young, man. This is my favorite player. He's a legend. But I trust Brock. And, one thing that we got to remember is he's coming off a season where he did have a lot of rehab this offseason. Maybe he does need a rest. Maybe just take a little break, and I think the break will do him well. And, like he said, like Brock said, is he's going to be practicing. He's going to be doing his thing. And the other issue for Brock is, he gets this is much needed rest for him. He's played a lot of games this year. He's had the concussion. I think that you got to realize that this man has went through so much this season. And again, sometimes you just need the rest. Like, there's certain players on this team that just deserve the rest. And I think he's going to be okay. I know there's a lot of fans that are, they're scared. Oh, he's going to be rusty when they go against the next playoff game. It's 21 days. But that's what this team has fought for. They fought for that rest. You know what I mean? He's had the stinger. He's had the concussion, the elbow, recovery. So I just think he deserves to have this rest and take a week off. It's not going to kill anybody. I don't think being benched on this game is going to make a big deal for Brock. There's a lot of great players that are sitting out, right? Quarterbacks especially. Matt Stafford's not playing. Lamar Jackson's not playing. But I feel like Brock's getting he's the one that's getting scrutinized in the media. I don't see any other players getting scrutinized. Oh, Lamar Jackson's sitting this weekend. I don't see the media making a big thing.
It's where you do those voices, but when you do, it always hits.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw how excited Debo and company were, right? Hanging around on Mike Silver's cell phone. He's like, guys, look. I don't say I'm a 49er fan on Twitter, but guys, look, I'm hanging out with you guys. I want you guys to win. And then Debo's all acting like a kid in the candy store looking at the phone, like, come on, Kyler. Like, you do it better than me. We saw how excited they were that they got the number one seed. So obviously they probably need the rest. Their bodies are probably aching and cracking like crazy. So let them get that rest in.
I agree. I think these players need the rest. Like CMC, he's not going to play this week. He deserves the rest, man. This guy battling through so much this season, battered and bruised, and puts the team on his back. 2,000 yards. He deserves this rest. He said he would be able to play if he needed to last week. So I think everybody's going to be fine. You got to remember, there's a lot of young players on this team that need some reps and development. And this is that type of game. It's kind of like a preseason vibe to me. And a lot of veterans that they signed over the last couple of weeks, Logan Ryan, these guys are going to need some important reps, D Winters and, the rookies, et cetera, et cetera. So I think this is good for those guys, go out there, show what you can do, get some valuable reps, develop the future, develop some of these guys that have been up and coming. Again, some of your veterans that have kind of just came onto the team that are still learning. They're going to need to play in the playoffs because they do have some injuries, with the safety department specifically, right, with Jair Brown, Talanoa, and Tashawn Gibson. So now Logan Ryan, Eric Harrison are going to get some burn. And then you even have Sebastian Joseph Day, who last week played his first game. He needs to kind of figure it out. And one thing we talked about last week, right, was he's not like a traditional lineman that the 49ers employ, and he's still trying to learn. They said he's a two-gapper, so he's still trying to learn the scheme of how the 49ers get off the line. So this is going to be a good game for a guy like that. So I think it's valuable for those types of players. But it is, one of those games you got to balance it. Like, you have to really balance this type of game, because you don't want to overplay players. Because Debo said it this week, like, his mentality is we're playing no matter what. Fred Warner said he's playing. Like, a lot of these guys, they want to play because they don't want to get rusty. Travarius Ward said he doesn't want to get rusty. He's going to play, but you don't want to overplay them. And then there's a guy, Trent Williams. He's going to play this weekend, and that's a lot of people are concerned about Trent Williams playing. So what do you think? Do you think Trent Williams should be playing this weekend?
I'm surprised he's playing. I have no idea why. I'm somebody who is a depressed Niner fan in the chat. This Trent deserves the rest too, to be honest. Yeah, I totally feel that he does. I mean, kind of weird that he's playing. Yeah, I mean, Aaron Donald's not playing, right? So, but again, Kyle did say, right, there are only so many players you can rest at the same time. So,
Yeah, you can't
what can we
have
do?
everybody inactive. And Trent Williams, he says he doesn't like prolonged rest. Like he wants to keep his body, in his shape. Like he's a guy that Trent Williams, he's been doing this for a long time. Like you can't tell Trent to sit on the bench. If he knows his body, like he needs to play, Trent Williams needs to play. So again, it's a balance. You can't rest everybody. You have some injured players that are going to be inactive on game day. So that kind of eats away at who's going to play or not. And just because they're not resting doesn't mean they're going to play the whole game, but they're going to be able to play a few series. And, I just think the biggest takeaway for this game is you just hope that nobody that plays gets hurt, injured, starters or backups, whatever the case is. You just hope that nobody is going to get hurt this weekend.
Very true. And I expect it to be a lot of vanilla play calling as well. In a game like this.
Yeah, it'll be a very basic game, I think. I don't think anybody wants to tip their hat. The Rams, they don't want to tip their hat. The Niners, they're not going to want to tip their hat. So, I mean, it's going to be one of those boring games, probably. Although, I'm intrigued to see Sam Darnold versus Carson Wentz. I think someone in the chat said in 2018, this would have been a barn burner. Like, can you imagine 2018, Carson Wentz, Sam Darnold, primetime matchup. Like, those two guys were pretty big cornerbacks. Now
Wentz was pretty damn good at one point, man.
He was.
He was a baller, and historically, he's always done well against the Niners, man.
I know.
Just for the fact that we're playing Wentz, I mean, if you want to sit back and chill, like I don't really care much about this game, be like, hey, at least I want the team to win,
Yeah.
I don't know. That might not happen if Wentz is playing against us. I'm just saying.
What do you think? I mean, the Rams are sitting out a lot of players too. Aaron Donald, Kyron Williams, Cooper Kupp. So that means Puka's probably going to break the rookie record. I mean, they're sitting out tons of players, like just a massive amount of starters. So, I mean, it's going to be basically the Rams B team and the 49ers B team plus a few starters sprinkled in. But what do you think? Do you think the 49ers even do you think they're going to win this game? What do you think? You think the Rams are going to walk all over them? Or I don't know.
Something tells me Kyle still probably wants to win just for the fact that it's Sean McVay and we're at home. And that means if we lose, that'll be the third home loss at Levi's this year, and that just doesn't sound good, No, and we're a team that is going into the, with the home field advantage. So you kind of do want to keep the home field going a little bit, but I keep saying the games that mean nothing, but it's hard it's hard to take that fandom out of me at the same time.
Yeah, it's hard because you want to say, it doesn't matter, but every game matters. You don't want to go out there and just lay an egg, you still want these guys to go out and compete. But then at the same time, I don't want to compete too hard. You don't want to get hurt. The playoffs are coming up. So it's just this hard balance. I can't imagine having to coach this game, being Kyle and all right, guys, make sure you play your 100%, tail off. But at the same time, don't play too hard because I don't want you getting hurt. And I don't know. You just want to maintain their steadiness. You don't want them to lose that edge. Again, it goes back to what Steve Young was saying is, 21 days before their next game. I mean, that's a lot, man. I can't imagine just I'm thinking about, what the hell am I going to do in these next couple of days, weeks without
21 days? That's crazy. I never thought it was going to take that long.
I know it's a long time. I'm thinking about what the heck am I going to do content wise? What are we going to talk about? There's no game. There's no fresh content. I can't imagine the players just wanting to play. Who the heck are we going to play? And then once you find out who you're going to play, now you got to prepare for them. And it's just so I can only imagine the players just being on edge all week mentally. You just got to kind of keep your mind from straying everywhere. So I don't know, man. It is going to be a long time till they play. So it is nice to know that some of these players are going to play. But again, you don't want everybody to play because you don't want them to get hurt. So it's a delicate line. And we'll see how it goes. But I want to shift gears here. We'll come back to that towards the end. So Bash, this week, the Pro Bowl was finally announced. All the players were announced. The votes are tabulated, 49ers led the NFL with 9 players selected to the Pro Bowl, and 2 of them were first-timers. We had Brock Purdy named to the Pro Bowl. He led every single player in votes. I mean, that was incredible. Every single player in the NFL, not quarterbacks, not just the NFC, every player in the NFL. I was like, wow, that's amazing. Shout out to the faithful. And then Mooney Ward was selected to his first Pro Bowl appearance in his career. So that was dope for him. What do you think about the whole Pro Bowl roster? Do you think there were any snubs? Obviously, we'll talk about those. And what do you think? Brock Purdy, first quarterback selected as a 49ers quarterback to the Pro Bowl since Jeff Garcia in 2002. Holy moly.
It's been a long time coming. That's all I gotta say. There was moments where maybe I thought Kaepernick, if he played his cards right, might have had a chance to make the Pro Bowl, but he never did. And we all know that Jimmy never did. And yeah, I mean, shit, it was all the way back in the Jeff Garcia's days last time it happened. And this just further solidifies the legacy of Brock Purdy. I mean, he's got his little stupid doubters that happen to be Niner fans for whatever reason. But the good thing is, hey, the rest of the league seems to think the guy's a stud, just like we do. 451,864 votes, more than any other player in the whole entire league. So, and right behind CMC, 429,993 votes. And then George Kittle, 300,703, 750 votes. So just all across the board, those three guys, man, were in the top five, and pretty badass. And Purdy, of course, is just breaking records, making history, and hopefully he breaks more records and makes more history in the playoffs. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope he continues his trajectory, takes this 49ers to the promised land. I mean, the story is already amazing for Brock Purdy. Last pick in the draft. Now he's a Pro Bowler, and is basically his first full year starting. He's a Pro Bowler. He set the franchise record in yards. I love the cup. I mean, it's just like every week, every month, he does something great. He sets a new record. If he goes from the last pick of the draft to the Super Bowl, I mean, he'll be only the second Mr. Irrelevant to even make a Super Bowl. It's Ryan Suckup. And if he wins the Super Bowl, man, I mean, that's legendary. He could quit right there and make the greatest movie of all time, like the greatest 30 for 30, like the greatest documentary. That is just mind-blowing. We are sitting here watching one of the greatest quarterback stories of all time pan out. Like, I remember growing up and seeing the Kurt Warner story, right? Like, oh my God, that unfolded. That was a great story, underdog story. And then Tom Brady, right? He got drafted. Nobody thought he was anything. And then he became, 7-time champ. Like, Brock Purdy could be the next big story in the NFL. And we're watching it. We are so lucky to watch this, man. And I think he's probably an all-pro if we really think about it when that gets selected. But it's incredible. This roster is so star-studded. You have so many good players. You have, like you said, CMC, the number 2. You got George Kittle. You got freaking Bosa, Warner, Mooney, Ward, Trent Williams, Kyle Juszczyk, all those guys. And if you really think about it, there was players that should have been on the roster that didn't even get picked. You're like Dre Greenlaw. Anywhere else, he'd be a linebacker 1. Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel. It's crazy. This roster is absolutely amazing. I would be so disappointed if they don't win a Super Bowl this year.
Yeah. Greenlaw, all year long, I kept thinking he was a shoo-in for the Pro Bowl. I think if anybody on this team got snubbed, it was him. And I know Ayuk had his awesome season. I get it, but there's other big name wide receivers, and there's a little bit of a logjam. But I don't know. I gotta see who made it over Greenlaw. I really do. Yeah, Greenlaw's pretty awesome.
Trey Greenlaw, amazing. Yeah,
yeah. And then really quick, I want to say this before I forget. It's a little off topic, but you were mentioning something earlier about the safeties getting injured and guys and replacements like Logan Ryan and all that. And where I'm playing Eric Harris this week. And I had to bring him up because you're talking about like amazing stories and all this other stuff, like with Purdy being the last pick of the draft, Mr. Irrelevant. Shout out to Larry Krueger. He always, this is so funny. He always brings us up that Eric Harris was working in a potato chip factory before he got picked up by the Falcons back in 2021. So I had to throw that out there. Wow. Shout out to all my potato chip lovers. So there you go.
Wow. Potato chip factory. Eric
Potato
Harris.
chips.
That's crazy, man. He went from packing potato chips to packing wide receivers on the field, man. I love to see it. That's awesome.
He can hit, actually. He can hit.
He's a big hitter.
He can hit like a sack of potatoes, man.
Yes, I'm saying he's actually not bad. He's decent, but they're going to need, this depth in the secondary because today, as we all found out, the most horrifying news of all day, Jason Verrett suffered a season-ending injury. He needs rotator cuff surgery on his shoulder. That is horrible, man. Like, this guy has had 6 season-ending surgeries. 6 of them through his career. That to me is just gut-wrenching, man. I can't believe it. I guess he went up, tried to grab a pass, defend a pass. He came down, landed awkwardly on his arm, and he had to get an MRI today because the pain was still so bad, and he tore his rotator. Dude, that's Jason Verrett's story that's horrible. We talked about a great story with Brock. Jason Verrett's story is probably the most cruel story in the NFL. It's horrible, man. The football gods don't want to see him shine. What do you think about Jason Verrett?
Yeah, he's not so bright. He's not shining, as they say. But hate to say that, but yeah, it sucks. It really, really sucks. He's a really good guy. I mean, I remember you posted the video after we won one of our games. I forgot against who, but they announced that they had signed Jason Verrett, and the video you posted was a post game video of Jason Verrett in the tunnel hugging all these Niner players that they won the game, and that was right when they announced that we had signed them. And I was like, okay, cool. I wasn't overly excited because I know that he's had his history of bumps and bruises along the way. And some people were like, oh, hell no. Why are we bringing this guy back? I wasn't on that side either. But at the end of the day, it just sucks. I mean, he probably needs to hang it up, man. I don't want to be the mean guy that says that or whatever, but it's leaning towards that direction, let's just say. And sucks for the Niners, man. It ruins our depth. I don't know who we're going to pick up or what we're going to do in terms of corner depth, but I thought he would have been a really, really nice piece to have, but we're not going to have him. So is what it is. He'll just be there for moral support, I guess, and teaching the guys along the way.
Yeah, no, he'll be great moral support. And Kyle talked about that he wants him to stick around in the locker room while he's rehabbing everything because they said that he's such a great leader and mentor. Like the players look up to him, man. You can tell, like Bosa and Lenore and all these guys when he came back. Yeah, like you said, that video, they were all hugging him, and they really, really look up to this guy because every season he gets hurt and he continues to battle back. They see how hard he works and how much he just wants it. He just wants to go out there and play football, man. Like it's unfortunate. I agree with you. Unfortunately, I think he needs to hang it up. Like I hate to say that. I hate to be that guy, but I mean, at some point, man, how can you keep continuing to come back from these mind-blowing injuries, these career season-ending injuries? Like it's just a lot, man. Like I can't imagine the mental anguish he has to deal with. Like personally, mentally for me, I don't know if I'd be able to even come back from one career-ending injury or season-ending injury. It's tough, man. I mean, I work in rehab, so I see how hard it is for people to like put their bodies through all that and come back every single year. He fights, he comes back, and he gets hurt. It's just like it's sad. It's really sad to me, and I feel so bad for the guy. I'm gutted. The truth says Verrett needs to coach at some point. Maybe he needs to look into another alternate, possibility in the NFL because he's tried so hard to play the game. I don't think his body's meant for it. And at this point, maybe he needs to get his body right and go into coaching. I agree with that. Like he would probably be a great coach because he's got a great football mind. The guy has been blessed with the skills to be one of the best cornerbacks, but he was never blessed with the body to endure it. And it's unfortunate. So maybe he can harness the skills he has and put it into coaching. Maybe he'll be a great coach someday. I hope that for him because it just sucks to see it. And he's, again, such a good guy. I've seen him. I've talked to him. I mean, you just don't wish this type of stuff to anybody. But Jason Verrett is one of those guys that you're like, man, it couldn't happen to a more nicer guy. Like something like this. It's unfortunate, man. So when I heard that news today, I was like, what? Come on, man. Like it's almost so unbelievable that it's like someone's playing a joke. Like someone commented, they're like, there's no way this is right, Raj. When I posted the news, they're like, is this a meme? Is this a joke? Like this is sick, man.
Or it's almost like you have deja vu. Like, did I just click on a old tweet from a few years back? Like, oh, I just read the date. Damn, 2024.
Yeah. Fuck, man. It sucks.
We are in 2024 now. Just to remind people that's no longer 2023. Just saying.
I know. Yeah, no, 100%. So, real quick. So I went back to the linebackers because you were talking about Drake Greenlaw.
Oh yeah, that's right.
These were the linebackers that made it in the NFC. So you had Fred Warner, obviously, and Bobby Wagner. I think Drake Greenlaw should have been over Bobby Wagner this year.
The announcers were hyping up Wagner like he's Bobby Wagner. Ever since he's returned to the Seattle Seahawks, he's having himself an impeccable season. That's how they kept hyping him up on the games.
Come on, like he's great, and I think he got in because of name recognition. But if I want to say, Drake Greenlaw has passed up Bobby Wagner, and that's not disrespect to Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, I think he has too. I very much think so.
So so. I don't know. Drake Greenlaw.
That's the tableau roll I was waiting for.
Yeah.
The way you do that.
Oh yeah, you like that? Yeah, I know you wanted that from earlier. Yeah. So real quick, switching gears again. So yeah, Jason Verrett. Unfortunate news for him. Let's go through these other injuries because the 49ers are definitely banged up. Ray McCloud's
Banged
coming
up
back this
Niner
weekend.
gang.
They are the banged up Niner gang. Ray McCloud is coming off the injured reserve and will play against the Rams. According to Shanahan, they need that because the return game's kind of been scary, and I do not want to have the return game screw us in the playoffs. A la, I'm not gonna say his name.
I'm not gonna say his name either. I saw it live. I saw it in person.
Mm-hmm. Oh God,
Ray. But shout out to Ray though. We get Ray.
Yeah, that's Ray. We need him back. We need that return.
Let's go, Ray.
Make
my day.
Yeah, make my day. The following players are out against the Rams. We're gonna go through these guys. So let's go one by one. Armstead dealing with the foot injury, and today John Lynch actually on KMBR says they hope that he's back for the playoffs. You know what? I hope he's back for the playoffs too. I did not sound good when he sees we hope that he comes back for the playoffs. He didn't say he's sure of it. He's not expected. They just hope that he's back for the playoffs. And that's basically what every 49er fans is. They hope that Arik Armstead is back. What do you make of Arik Armstead? This plantar fasciitis situation is getting tough.
Man, I had to take a deep pause for that one because I kept thinking that he's probably ready to play, but the Niners are just being cautious. I'm always having my wishful thinking cap on. You know, it's like I'm trying to be optimistic, be like, oh, if it was a playoff game, he'd be out there. But I don't know. Like you're the sports injury guy. You know better than I do. Yeah, it's probably messing with him. You know, they had to sign Sebastian Joseph Day, which I'm glad they did. When his name was out there, I was hoping like, oh, are we gonna get him? I hope we get him. And oh, damn, he's got a clear waivers. That sucks. But we ended up getting him anyways, which was cool. But still, though, I love having Armstead in the mix with when Hargrave is on the field, when Chase Young's on the field, when Bosa's on the field. I love all of it, but we haven't seen it in a minute, and we've seen the decline in the run defense when Kinlaw and Givens have been out there much longer than we wanted them to, basically. So, you got a good question right here from Bloodman. Moon, that is.
Blood Moon. My man Blood Moon says, and we'll get to Juwan, but I want to finish up what we're talking about Armstead is, that plantar fasciitis. It's an irritating injury. It's chronic. There's no real timetable for it to return or get better, and it's one of those things. It's a pain tolerance issue. And if you continue to have plantar fasciitis and these issues with your foot, you might get heel spurs, bone spurs in your foot. And when that kind of starts happening, you might need to start looking into getting foot surgery. So maybe down the line, Armstead's going to need some type of surgery, but I hope that's not where it's at right now. Hopefully they can really help him with the rehab that they're doing. But again, there's no timetable. Last year, I think he missed 8 weeks, if I remember correctly. I mean, if he's missing 8 weeks this year, I don't even know if he's going to make it back to the playoffs. I really hope so. But again, if he goes out there, he might be re-injuring the plantar fasciitis. You can kind of set it back off. It's a chronic condition. So hopefully, I don't know. I hope he's back for the playoffs, just like, Lynch said. But again, I think the sentiment is we hope because we just want that injury to get better. But you just don't I hate to say it, but it's one of those injuries where you honestly don't know. I hate that injury. I hate conditions like that, those chronic conditions, because they can flare back up. I'm treating a patient. I've treated a patient with it, and they're great. They're great. And then a couple weeks later, hey, guess what? I'm having my symptoms again. What do I do? And I'm we got to start back from the beginning. And this is a pro athlete, so he's got to put a lot of impact and jumping and lateral movements and be pain-free with it. So
the guys you were taking care of, I'm pretty sure just everyday human beings. They're not running around,
folks and stuff like that. But no disrespect, but geriatric, some people are just middle-aged people or whatever the case is. They're not playing playoff caliber football with the 49ers. So it's a whole nother story. Speaking of injuries, my man Blood Moon asked a great question. What happened to Juwan Jennings? How the did he get rocked so hard to get this bad of a concussion? What play did that happen? The whole mystery.
I don't remember.
Concussion being this long is suspect. Yeah, I don't remember when he got the concussion. I don't know. I just remember hearing the report. He's out with the concussion. This man's 3-week long concussion. He's still in the protocol. He's still in the concussion protocol. He's questionable to play this weekend, and he's practiced this week, which is a good sign of moving forward. But you're right. What in the world? What happened to Juwan Jennings? He must have taken a massive hit. What do you think about the whole Juwan Jennings situation?
Juwan Jennings, he's been our third down guy. Well, more so last year than this year, but there were moments this year where he was pretty dope on third downs too. And when he's engaged, he's a pretty damn good blocker. Every now and then, he'll make a little mistake blocking wise downfield, but I just love his presence. I forgot, was it against the Seahawks where he had that one play where he just like shoved the dude out of the way and went to the end zone? And I love watching Juwan Jennings play.
Philly.
There you go. Oh, Philly. It was Philly. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That was a lot of fun, and I wanted to see a whole lot more of that. And hopefully, we do see some playoff JJ coming up in the mix because, and we need all the help we can get, man. We're trying to get number 6. No bars intended.
Yeah, he's a great player, man, and he's important in terms of first down, getting first downs on those third downs, blocking. He's such a big blocker, and I feel like the 49ers have tried to get their footing with this third receiver. It's hard to get this third receiver, right? Danny Gray, he's been injured. They activated his practice window this week. I don't know if he's going to get activated this week to play, but he's an option. They've had Tay Martin, they've had Willie Snead, and now Ray's back in the mix. So it's one of those things, and Ronnie Bell. But they just haven't had that guy that has the amount of physicality that Juwan Jennings has. Jennings is just different than all those guys, and he's important, man. He's a great role player. He's like one of those like just glue guys. You need a guy, right? You need a guy like Jennings, and it's tough to see him out because he is a very integral part. Big clutch plays when they need a clutch play. Boom, Jennings is there, man. He's always sure-handed. And again, he's such a good blocker in open space. So hopefully he can come back. But I agree with Blood Moon, man. Like, I don't know what happened, but I feel like this has been a very severe concussion. He must have got rocked so bad for this concussion to be lingering this week. Typically, these guys, they get concussed, they get hit, that's the NFL, they miss a week or something, but 3 weeks, and then he's going to have the 2 weeks after, like 5 weeks. If he comes back in the playoffs, man, this might be like a 5 to 6 week layoff for Juwan Jennings. That's a long time. How rusty is he going to be when he comes back? So hopefully he's up to speed and nothing serious is wrong with him. But, I mean, you think about it and you're like, man, is he really okay? 3 weeks for a concussion? Must have been a very, very severe concussion. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I just hope that he's okay. These injuries are always tough, man, especially towards the end of the season. You want your guys to be healthy, and it's been a little frustrating to see some of these guys. So some more guys that were hurt. We know Christian McCaffrey's not going to play this week with the calf injury. He told the media this week if he needed to, he'd be there. Last week, he said he could have played. He's just being safe. Please rest Christian McCaffrey. Do not get this man hurt. He just, out of anybody that needs a week off, it's Christian McCaffrey. He's put the team on his back many a times. And then Tashawn Gibson, he has a quad injury. He says he should be back for the playoffs. But, these injuries are starting to add up. Jair Brown, he's got a knee injury. And then Ross Dwelly, he's been having an ankle injury for weeks. And then we know Ambry Thomas this week, he ended up on the injury report. He had a broken hand, and now he got surgery on Tuesday. And that's why the loss of Jason Verrett is huge, because Jason was supposed to play a lot of snaps this week. He was supposed to have like his, lion's share of the snaps. He was supposed to be the guy. So now you're down Ambry. Now you're down Jason Verrett, Jair Brown, Tashawn Gibson, Ross Dwelly. Hopefully they're back for the playoffs. But what do you think about all those injuries?
Yeah, they all suck, especially the whole thing with Jason Verrett. I mean, he was supposed to be the guy coming in and getting the fair share of the reps. So, yeah, I don't know what to think anymore with these damn injuries. I just don't want any more injuries. Just want it all to go away. It almost feels like a bad dream. You think your team's doing good, doing well, and and then also you have that Ravens loss, then we win. But then it's like we win, but every win comes at a price, because then all of a sudden we get these surprise announcements that people are injured. You mentioned CMC. We saw them taping up his ankle quite a bit in that Redskins. I'm sorry, Commanders game. I keep saying Redskins. Commanders. I got to remember to say overemphasize the pronunciation, so it sticks in my head. And Elijah Mitchell spelled him right. Elijah Mitchell looked pretty damn good. And I don't want CMC out there if they're going to have to tape up his ankle like crazy in a game that's not really going to mean much. So, throw in Elijah Mitchell, give us some Jordan Mason. I'm not sure what other running backs are in the mix now. Is Nichols going to be around, or is he? Did we release him? I know TDP's gone, but I'm not sure which other running backs we have now.
Yeah, let me. I'm going to be right back. I got to switch out. Actually, I think my camera's. I'll be right back.
Cool. He will be right back. I can't pop comments up on the screen. It doesn't